Hey everyone, this is Hill Street Soul, and you're tuned in to the core with the Millennial Coach, discussing topics on real life. Check it out. Everywhere you go, don't forget the ghetto. Listen to the core.
I'm the Millennial Coach. Welcome. I hope that you enjoyed yesterday's episode on thriving authentically. Not the easiest thing to do in this day and age when we've got so much different things to acknowledge in order to be ourselves. But I want to talk about thriving in your 20s, and I'm going to do 20s, 30s and 40s for the remainder of the week. And having a midlife crisis, let's start there. In your 20s, so you've had your teenage years. Teenage years for me was absolutely diabolical. I hated school. I hated the people in the school. Well, okay, let's rewind. I don't actually hate anyone. I wasn't fond of people's behavior. I was too mature when I was young. So it was like I was around toddlers when I was in secondary school. But I loved studying, so I did well in school. And then I went off to college. So my teenage years in college, I had the best time. So if there's anyone watching from Westminster College in Battersea, honestly, we studied, but we laughed and we laughed and we laughed and we laughed and we studied and we studied and we raved and we raved and we raved. It was the best time. And then I went to university, which I hated. That I hated. Our lecturer sometimes was wasted, so I like to learn. So if you're wasting my time of learning, then I'm frustrated. Then I went to another uni because I had to finish my journalism degree somewhere else. Teachers were great. Then you had, unfortunately, racist people in the classroom who would always make you feel like you shouldn't be there. And they didn't like when I spoke or asked questions, and they always took everything I said the wrong way. So that was horrible. That wasn't a nice experience. And there was me and two other black girls in my class. And we had a good bond. So that kept me going. And there was, a couple of girls we used to hang out with. One girl was from Essex. She was just so sweet. Sophie, I'll never forget her. Lovely girl. Just always has your back and won't put up with any bad behavior. Sophie, she's from Essex. I think her family owned a pub. So if someone came for me, she'll be like, but they ain't even all that anyway, Sanj. Do you know what I mean? So that's how she'll be talking. But she was cool. Sophie was lit. So I hope she's doing well. I haven't seen her since uni, but But in your 20s, you are trying to figure things out, right? So in your 20s, and I know this day and age is different, right? Because sexuality is a big thing. So if you're asexual, I get it. Like you're just not really that interested in men or women. That's fine. And I think no one tells you in your 20s that you're going to go through a period of dark times because you're going to try different jobs. You're going to go to uni, and some of you won't like uni. And I would definitely encourage you, if you're in your 20s, go and do an apprenticeship. It's university fully paid for. You don't have to pay for it. So imagine doing an apprenticeship degree and it's fully paid for in the qualification and you actually get paid on the job. It's a no-brainer. So I'm a proponent of education in that respect. Your education shouldn't leave you in debt, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to be a thought leader, you have to transition into success. Okay, you have to transition into success for yourself. But in your 20s, there's a lot of things you don't always fit in, and you don't feel like you fit in. That's normal. And because it's normal, a lot of people think that being in your 20s, you have to have it all figured out until you can move to your 30s. Now, let me give you some advice if you're in your 20s. Between 20 and 25, have the time of your life. Travel, date, eat, enjoy yourself, exercise, experiment, do things. So after 25, now you need to start thinking about, okay, do I want to buy a property? If you do, start saving, start being responsible. Think about how you're consuming foods, the times you're going to bed, because it's going to set you up very nicely for your 30s. In your 20s, figure out what you're strong at in terms of what is going to make you money and also make you not struggle. And I'm not like, some jobs, right? Some people love working and they don't really care about money. That's fine. But if the reason I'm saying you've got to care about money, because it's going to give you a little bit of breathing space to be able to do things you actually really enjoy. The sad thing about younger people now, you don't go out as much. You're always on your phones or you're always online. I'm going to say to you, change that. If you're in your 20s, go and spend more time with older people. Learn about the world. Research things. Read books. Why do you need to do this? Because what's happening now, we in the UK, we talk about literacy and numeracy has reduced. I met some young girls. I just left another conference, right? I just left the conference, and there were some young girls who were talking about attachment styles. They were like 20, and I turned around. I'm like, "What do you not know about attachment styles?" And they're like, "Yeah, so being avoidant attachment." They started breaking it down. So I said to them, "I am loving the conversation." And so one said, "Can I link you on LinkedIn?" I said, "Absolutely." Now, what I love about being in your 20s is that there's knowledge about narcissism, there's knowledge about mental health, there's knowledge about burnout, there's knowledge about bad behavior, red flags in the workplace. This is what I love about young people. You're not putting up with a lot of stuff, right? So that's a positive, because I will say people older, they need to take some lessons from younger people. And this is why I think it's very important to stay open to learning from all ages. So if you're young, learn from older people. If you're older, learn from younger people. But as you're younger, don't take everything literally. What's online, you can't take it literally. Someone is a size 0. Don't be starving yourself. Go and have that cream cake, or call me and we go have that cream cake. Don't be scared to say, actually, I don't want to do this. This is not good for me. Because sometimes when you're young and you want to get into an industry, you will tolerate a lot of bad behavior. People will be abusing you, disrespecting you, mistreating you, and you take it because you think this is the way to get into this industry. No, it's not. There was a girl that recently, I think it was some time back, she was working for Deloitte in India. She died after 4 months of working. Young girl in her 20s, because she wanted to prove herself. So if you are in countries that they want to classify as developing, please don't kill yourself. Please don't, because you cannot afford to lose your life to a company. What you can afford is explore different avenues of getting to your destination by being kind to yourself. And also, one of the things I will say to you in your 20s, listen to your navigation system, which is your gut. Listen to your navigation system. More often than not, we don't do that. We don't listen to our navigation systems. We don't understand why things are not working out for us, because we're not listening to ourselves. We're listening to everybody else, including the internet and people on TikTok. Maybe you should stop listening to TikTok. It might help. All right? Because there's a lot of people that are not qualified to give you advice. And I genuinely mean that. You need to be careful with what you let in your mind in your 20s. And one of the things in your 20s, please stop. You lot that are taking fentanyl, all this nonsense, stop it. The reason is, you don't want to, look, I'm closer to 50 than I am 40, right? I don't take drugs. And this is just when I mean a little bit of makeup, because I hardly wear makeup, right? This is what it looks like when you're not addicted to stuff. And why this is important? You don't want to get to 45/50, your face is like that. You can't move your forehead. Your lips are literally like inflatable balloons. Your chest is literally in your neck piece. Like, in your 20s, all this stuff you got, all this cosmetic stuff you're doing, not necessary. I'm telling you, it's not necessary. Wait till you can see problems. Wait till you see problems, or you see things, and then do the work. If you start changing your collagen now, look at my cheekbones, look. I got a friend, right? She's got high cheekbones like me. Someone in her workplace asked her, how often does she go for fillers? We don't do fillers. It's called I drink collagen, I drink water, I exercise. So those of you in your 20s, you will have a midlife crisis because you will not know whether or not you need to be filling up your face, filling up your lips, filling up your boobs, filling up your ass, as the girls. And the boys, you need to not try and be a millionaire. Find you're happy. So if it means that, and the thing is, if a girl is too demanding, I say this to all boys that I coach, if a girl's too demanding, get rid of her, because she's trying to destroy you before you've even made it. So the girls in their 20s, if you're saying he needs to do this and he needs to do that and he needs to have to all the guys, you need to walk the opposite direction, because you are not an ATM and you're just starting your career. And if you find a girl that is actually willing to work and grow with you, that's the one to marry. And I had a young boy one time say to me, he met a girl who's 22, who's working at a TV company, and I was tasked to mentor him. And he said he's met this girl and he really likes her. And I said, okay. And then I said to him, so what does she do for a living? And she's like, she's, I think, getting into banking or something. So I said to him, and does she respect your family? She goes, oh, our families know each other. I said, okay. And I said, does she go clubbing? Just asking questions. How does she dress? Remember, dress how you want to be addressed. When he told me how decent she was, I said, marry her. I said, if you can grow with her and you can be all things that you need to be in yourself to be with her, marry the girl. Not now, but eventually. In your 20s, you have so much external pressures, so many external pressures. My advice, have weekends where you completely disconnect from social media, completely disconnect. So in my 20s, what I tend to do, I'd be working a lot, doing events. I've been doing events since my 20s, so that's been great. And then one weekend every couple months, I would just literally switch everything off and just watch movies the whole weekend, get goodies, ice cream, all of that good stuff. You do not need to try and figure out everything in 1 year, 10 years, between 20 and 30. You're going to figure stuff every single day of your life. People in their 60s are still trying to figure it out. So don't think in your 20s is any different. It's just that you don't have the same anxiety. So why anxiety occurs in younger people? Because there's too much things you have to process in order to just live. And so you don't know which way to go. So that's what creates anxiety. And then because you don't know which way to go, analysis, and then you have the paralysis, and then that creates a level of depression. And so you pause and you stay in the pause. Being in your 20s should be fun. You should be able to learn about who you are. And also, don't be too hard on yourself, because that's the one thing I know I did, and it was debilitating. I'm a Virgo, and I don't know if anyone's into their horoscopes, but I am. And Virgos, we work like show ponies, right? We are dedicated to the craft and the game, right? We're very loyal to a fault, which I would definitely say. In your 20s, do not lend money to people. I stopped that probably after 23. If you want money, you call Uncle Barkley, you call Auntie Santander, you call Cousin Aqua card. Like, you ain't calling me. So don't lend money in your 20s. Exercise. Enjoy food, but exercise. Take your health seriously. Because what is happening is people in their 30s and 40s, they're getting cancer and they're having strokes too early. So if you set up how you want to live effectively, health-wise now, it's going to pay dividends in the future. Save. That's the one thing my dad always said to me. Save at least a minimum of a quarter of your salary. If you can save half, don't run to move out. If your parents have a fully mortgaged house, do not go and buy a house to live in. Buy a house to rent out, so you can have passive income if your family are easy to live with. Buy properties so you can rent them out, and then you can have passive income that can create generational wealth. Think about these things. You don't have to live like every other 20-something-year-old. You don't have to try and wear the latest this. Be doing dances and shaking your ass on TikTok. You don't need to be doing all of that. You don't need to be an influencer. You don't. You could be the next prime minister. You could be the next. I don't know anyone who's actually worked in aerodynamics or aerospace. So I would love to hear about somebody who's interested in that space. So if you're in your 20s, you're going to have a midlife crisis or come to Jesus moment or dark night of the soul. And it's okay. I'm here to tell you it's all right. You might decide to drink alcohol or smoke to get through your problems. Now, I know people take drugs, I know people smoke, and I know people drink. My advice to you is this: if you do it and tomorrow your problem's there, guess what? That is not going to solve your problem. So realize if the problem's still there and you're doing all these things to distance yourself emotionally and mentally from the problem, and the problem's still there the next day, that is not going to work for you. So that's what I want you to do, is just take that knowledge quicker and faster rather than later. Because if you're doing the most to your body now, it's not going to support you later on. That's all I want to say. So if you're in your 20s, I hope this has been useful, but you need to think about your life has just begun. You're not going to get it done in your 20s. You're definitely not going to get it done in your 20s. So you need to give yourself grace. I'm the Millennial Coach, and I'm going to talk about being in your 30s, what to do, what not to do, and some of those experiences that kind of take you off track. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed today's show, and speak to you tomorrow. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all the 20-year-olds that you know, including your own kids. All right, bye.